Hello Horror Hounds. These horror memories videos that I've been doing set off a memory from back when I was just turning 9 and afforded me the perfect opportunity to spend the last few weeks sat on eBay trying to put back together my collection of Scream comics that ran for 15 short issues in the summer of 1984. As a kid at the time, I used to cut my favourite pictures out of these. Usually they were the pictures of Dracula, and stick them in a scrapbook. I had no idea that the title was going to get cancelled after 15 issues. And I had no real sense of keeping these things for posterity. They were disposable. So now, many decades later, it's wonderful to have the collection back, slightly creased, slightly worn around the edges, like its new owner now, I'm afraid. Time marches on. The great news is that these comics have been digitized, and I'm going to put a link in the comment section down below so that you can go and read them. I can remember as an 8-year-old vividly still having a very animated discussion, let's call it, with my mother, desperately trying to persuade her to let me spend my pocket money on getting this comic book once a week. I don't know what her issue was. I'd been into horror. I was so obviously a horror kid by then. It had never given me nightmares or the like, but this was a conversation I was to have with my mother on quite a number of different occasions around that time and through my early teens, until it became abundantly clear to her that it wasn't warping my fragile little mind, and I was getting all the sleep I needed, undisturbed by nightmares, and nothing bad was going to happen just because I liked horror. My favourite strip was the Dracula file. Reading back again, still my favourite strip. No, not the most lauded strip in the comic, to be fair, but definitely mine. It has a real sort of kind of quasi Bela Lugosi meets Hammer kind of vibe, and an excellent setup. Sets in the 80s during the Cold War. Dracula poses as a defector from East to West Berlin, and then MI5, the UK Secret Service, shuttle him to England as a defector, and there he causes havoc. And it's only a KGB high-ranking officer that knows that a vampire is now loose in England and disobeys his masters and defects himself to go and track down Dracula. I'm so disappointed that story never got finished. A couple of the strips got picked up when the title was merged with Eagle Comic. They picked up The 13th Floor, which is a superb sort of like Twilight Zone-esque setup, wherein you've got an ultra-modern tower block run by a computer called Max. He oversees Maxwell Towers, and the building doesn't have a 13th floor, as many actually in real life don't, because it's considered bad luck. But he has a sort of matrixy virtual reality 13th floor that he uses to punish criminals and wrongdoers and things. Once he gets them in his lift, the doors open on the 13th floor, and it can be anything beyond there. Just let your imagination run wild to punish these baddies. That was carried on in Eagle, as was Monster, which is a sort of Frankenstein's monster-like sort of kind of thing. A young kid whose mum dies. His dad dies one night, and he finds that what's the secret behind the locked door of the room he was never supposed to have gone into, and that was where was being kept an uncle he knew nothing about. uh, deformed with learning difficulties, but enormously strong. They go on the run together because the uncles committed a couple of murders in self-defense, but no one's going to believe that it was in self-defense. And that got an extended life in Eagle Comics as well. Uh, Tales from the Grave is an awesome setup. Your host, like Tales from the Crypt, and like is a character called the Leper, who is not allowed to go into the town, not allowed to mix with anyone. They've completely shunned him, but they give him basically the job that no one else wants, which is digging the graves in the cemetery, just so long as he stays there and doesn't come and mingle with any of us. And each week he tells you the tale of one of the residents of the cemetery and how they got there, and those are sort of period set morality tales of ghostly revenge, grave robbing, and stuff like that. There's a ridiculous one about killer cats, which is absolutely laughable, which doesn't run for very long. There's always a one-off story in there that's done either in 1, 2, or 3 pages. It's a lovely little title that I'm glad to be able to share with you now. If you're at all interested in what you've seen there, follow the link and you can read the comics yourself and hopefully have fun with those, as much fun as I have. Thank you.